Hello, everybody. This is Mike Tedesco of Wrestleview.com, the editor-in-chief of Wrestleview.com. Welcome to Wrestleview News. I'm very, very happy to be here tonight, joined by Jerome Wilen. And as we continue our SummerSlam coverage, or a week of coverage, this past Monday we had Post-Raw, which featured me and Victoria talking about the Raw go-home show to SummerSlam. Yesterday, I recorded an interview with Charlie Krause of the Coach and Crew podcast, which is made available today. I will have the links out to you after the show is over. It was a good interview. We had a good talk, and I think you'll really enjoy it. We talked about a lot of stuff heading into SummerSlam and all that good stuff. And tomorrow we have me and CJ Bowman will be doing the state of WWE. We'll be talking about three big topics in wrestling. It's really more of a state of professional wrestling podcast than anything. Friday, we have Wrestleview Weekly. Doug will be giving his predictions for SummerSlam and probably NXT TakeOver. I would imagine he's doing NXT TakeOver, and I kind of am making him do it now. just by announcing it just like that. Saturday, we'll have coverage of NXT TakeOver 30. We'll have coverage of AEW Dynamite. Doug will be doing a NXT TakeOver watch-along. And Sunday, we'll have coverage of SummerSlam, including the pre-show. After that, we'll have Wrestleview Live. Monday, Raw after SummerSlam. We'll have the post-Raw for that as well. Then we have another pay-per-view that very Sunday, WWE Payback. I don't know why, but so we'll have another Wrestleview Live there. And then at some point, I'm just going to need everybody just to never talk to me again because I'm just going to have too much wrestling. In the meantime, let me introduce my broadcast partner, news reporter Jerome Wilen. How are you tonight, Jerome?
I'm doing well. How about you, Mike?
I'm hanging in there. I can't complain, you know. It's things are going good.
Yes. It's been busy for me, selling our house here in Washington State and heading to the state of Montana here in the next month or so. So It's been a busy several weeks for us, and my wife's having surgery coming up on Tuesday.
That's right.
And so I'll be taking a small hiatus from Wrestleview, reporting between the surgery and the move. There'll be a period of time where I will be absent, but I will be back.
Yes, you definitely will. You are very, very needed and very, very necessary to what we do here. But a lot of stuff to cover. You know, we'll be. The news just never slows down. You know,
no, it does not.
We talked about that through COVID. There have been some wild stories. There's been some interesting stories. Jerome, what are we starting off with? Let's talk.
Well, the big news, I think, of the day is Renee Young departing from World Wrestling Entertainment.
Yeah.
She is heading out the door, and let the speculation begin. I assume everyone will probably think she's going to go to AEW and join her husband, John Moxley, but I think that she's probably needing a break from the wrestling industry, and she's probably going to focus on her cookbook. But I think eventually, sooner or later, she's going to end up in AEW. If not, maybe she and John are going to start a family. I don't know.
Who knows? Who knows?
Hard to say.
Exactly. You know, it was kind of like you just knew it was coming eventually. When Moxley left, or at the time Dean Ambrose, it was like, well,
Right.
What are they going to do with Renee? Well, she was on Raw commentary, and then then she made it through the summer of him leaving, and then they took her off the Raw commentary team. And I was like, that's so unfair because she was just finding her stride on commentary. The first female commentator that they've ever had full time.
Yep, right. And they stuck her on SmackDown as a special correspondent, and then she ended up on Backstage, and we know how Backstage ended.
Yeah, Backstage was just a disaster for the company, and
it was a disaster from the start.
You know, it was kind of like, you know, I think Fox really, they wanted to like dive in head first on everything and think like, you know, we got like a real pop culture phenomenon. That's what they told us in the meetings and the contract negotiations which we had, and it really like they were thinking of WWE from like 15 years ago when, you know, like they might have been thinking of it from almost 20 years ago. I have the WrestleMania 17 retro recap coming out tomorrow. They might think that that's the WWE that they were getting. It's not. And I think that, you know, they thought that maybe Backstage, you know, would be like a success or a hit or something like that. And it just most assuredly was not.
No, I think they have buyer's remorse, in my opinion.
It kind of feels like it, but Renee did a good job on the show.
She did. She did a very good job.
She did as much as she could. Like the show definitely had some mistakes made with it in terms of like they should have been talking about actual real stories in wrestling. Like if something happened in the company, like, especially now with like COVID and stuff, like they should have been talking about like what WWE's doing to prevent COVID from happening. And when they had the outbreak, they should have said something like, Apollo Crews has a COVID. They should have. Instead, it was just like a storyline recap show, and that's really not what everybody wants to see. The storylines are so bad, you don't really need a recap of them to begin with. You kind of want to just forget about them.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, like they took away talking smack from her. I remember she had a show on the WWE Network, which I forget what it was called, but it was like sitting down or dishing with Renee Young or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I can't remember.
And she was bummed out when that got canceled. And it's just like, you know what? They took away backstage. She's not doing anything else. I think technically she might have been an employee of Fox when she was doing backstage as it was.
Interesting. So I wonder if she has a non-compete.
So she might have had like there might have been like a limiting of her WWE contract, as she went to Fox or whatever. But I don't think anybody should be really surprised by this. She did a ton in this company, and she really made her mark. Triple H on the media call today, was putting over her accomplishments as well.
Yeah.
It's a bummer, but I think I always think when Ambrose left, it was like it's a foregone conclusion that she's going to eventually kind of go away.
Right. Yeah. So I wonder if she has a non-compete or if she is free to go anywhere she wants.
It depends. If her contract's expiring, then yes, she can do whatever she wants.
Right.
But if she just gave her notice and she still has time left on her contract, then probably not. Let's say hello to the people in the chat room real quick while we're talking here. We got Quentin Walters, one of Wrestleview Media's #1 fans. Quentin's been with us since my very first post-Raw show. He's the man. Andrew Elder, so he's not going to make the list of Victoria. I'm going to have to tell Victoria that Andrew is in the chat room tonight. We got Uncle Billy in the chat room. We got Corey Howell. If I missed anybody so far, just say hello as we go. And we thank you all for joining us. Jerome, this is the first time we're ever doing this live.
Yep, we normally do it pre-recorded and then air it at a later time. But yeah, this is our first actual live broadcast. It's
pretty good. I think so far so good.
Not too bad.
Not too bad. No, I'm not going to complain about it. So, all right. Jerome, what's our... Oh, CJ Bowman, my co-host for the State of WWE Tomorrow. You must check that show out. CJ Bowman's in the chat room. We got Mashoon Walls in the chat room as well. Lots of people here. Very, very good. And Corey Howell is somebody who emails me a lot, constantly asking when I'm going to do this darn WrestleMania 17 retro recap. Jerome, last night I stayed up late to make sure that I finished that WrestleMania 17 recap. Jerome, is it sitting in the draft scheduled to post for tomorrow?
Yes, it is. Last time I checked, it was.
Corey, it's there. And next time Jerome checks, it's going to be there as well. This is dedicated specifically to you. I am this WrestleMania 17. You're going to love this because that was my favorite WrestleMania, by the way. Anyway, WrestleMania 17 was just the one of the greatest shows I've ever seen as a fan, and also one of the saddest shows I've ever seen because it also ended the hottest period in professional wrestling history by turning Steve Austin heel. One of the more harebrained things that ever happened. How do you turn your top star heel when you don't have a giant baby face to go against him?
Exactly, and the fans want to cheer him anyway, so why do that?
Exactly. Nobody wanted to boo Steve Austin, and it's like, okay, you turn him heel, and if you have The Rock still there, then it kind of works out. But The Rock literally left the next day on Raw to do The Mummy Returns.
Right.
Now we have who's our giant babyface? The out of shape Undertaker? And Undertaker was like way out of shape at that time.
I know. Yep. I know.
Kane? Nah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think so. It was an odd decision. Very odd decision.
Right. Yeah, it was.
And hindsight's always 20/20. Austin always says that he should have just stunned McMahon at the end of it. But you know how it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jerome, what's our next story that we're talking about tonight here?
Well, what could have been unfortunate for Sonia Deville turned out to be okay for her. It's scary, but that stalker that ended up in her home, and they actually caught that individual, and hopefully he'll get some mental help because it sounds like he's a very sick individual mentally.
Oh my God, this guy is insane. I think is the nicest way I could possibly put it.
Yeah.
So essentially, I think everybody by now knows the story of what happened to Sonya Deville. Sunday or Saturday night, it's assumed. I'm just guessing. As a former MMA fighter, she probably went out and was watching the UFC fights somewhere in Florida.
Right.
Returns home with a guest who was later revealed to be Mandy Rose.
Yeah, her enemy at SummerSlam.
Yeah, they're gonna meet at SummerSlam, but like in a very real situation here, some deranged man from South Carolina who's been stalking her online for years.
Disgusting.
Drove down to her place, cut a hole in the screen door of her lanai, and was just sitting there watching through the windows and listening. I mean, like,
disturbing.
Extremely disturbing. Very scary. He tries to break into the house after they go to bed. He waits like a little while. I think she went to bed at like 1:45. Her and the guest, and he opens the sliding door. Alarm goes off. She goes to turn it off. Notices that the door is open in her family room. Goes out there and sees him.
Yeah.
Actually confronts him. So these details were released shortly after everything happened. When she was filing for that temporary injunction, she had to detail like what happened that night. She actually confronted him. If I saw somebody standing on my lanai, I'd be just tripping over myself to get out of to run.
Yeah.
But imagine, if she didn't have a security system, like this guy actually, she looked in her in her received messages folder from accounts that she doesn't follow. The guy had sent her messages, like a month ago. He sent her home address. He said, "I know where you live." Then he sent her a message, "Hey, at like midnight, I'm on your porch. I'm going to kill the little bee inside," meaning Mandy Rose. He was going to murder her, and then he was going to pepper spray Sonya Deville and hold her hostage until she answered all of his questions. Now, tomorrow, this psychopath is having a pretrial hearing to determine whether or not he receives bail as they await for the actual trial.
He shouldn't get it.
He shouldn't get it. This man is dangerous, and I don't think he's going to go away.
No.
Just because there's a permanent injunction against him.
Right.
Like, it's a really scary story. Really scary. I mean, we had a security system when I was a kid growing up, and many times, you just you come in, forget to turn it on for that one night. We don't know. She goes out with Mandy Rose. They're watching the fights or whatever they're doing. Maybe you have a drink or two. And it's like, oh, I'm tired. I'm just gonna go to bed. Oh, I forgot to turn on the alarm. No big deal.
Yeah.
Could have been a very, very sad story. And like leave it to wrestling fans to like miss the real story here. Like there was a lot of people online. One of them pointed out by CJ Bowman, which was a very good thing for him to do, because some people have to be held accountable. Calling out somebody who said like, oh, if Eddie Graham was alive, he would have fired both of them for ruining kayfabe. It's like, forget kayfabe. We are way past that. We are way past that.
That's just, what an idiotic comment.
It's like, come on, like get a life. Get a life.
Yeah.
See, it's people like that eventually wind up stalking somebody. Like
Exactly.
there's something wrong there, that you're not seeing that two human lives could have been greatly affected. One of them could have been ended. Two of them could have been ended.
Exactly.
This guy was sending her messages saying that he wanted to decapitate her family members and sexually assault them. This guy is insane.
This guy's sick.
He's a sick puppy. Yes.
Just sick. He needs help. Needs mental help.
So, I mean, if he gets released though, what?
I'll be mad if he gets bail. If they set bail and he gets it.
That would be a complete miscarriage of justice there. And I think WWE would have to hire her a 24/7 security detail.
Yeah.
Her
Exactly.
and Mandy Rose. But I think the real story here, Jerome, is how easily accessible all of our information is online now. Like if you're somebody like you and me and our address is online, it's like, okay, that's whatever. It's like,
right.
Who's really gonna, come after? I mean, it's still a real possibility that could happen.
Sure.
You upset. I've heard stories. You cut somebody off on the road.
Yeah.
They get your license plate. They can just type it in, and they can find who the car's registered to, your address. What if you cut off a lunatic one day?
Yeah, I know. You can buy addresses on the internet for $1. I've seen them as low as $1.
Wow.
Really?
$1.
Really?
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so we know the real names. We know that Sonia Deville is really Daria Baronato, and Mandy Rose is Amanda Sakamono. Like, you could just look up those names and kind of narrow it down because they live in Florida and get their addresses. That is too easy. And I think that we're starting. I hope that there's a groundswell of change coming for that, because that's ridiculous. Like you were just saying, you saw it online for $1 or $2.
Yeah, I went and actually Googled myself, and you could buy my address for $1.
Wow, that's actually really scary. And like a couple weeks ago, that judge that was going to be presiding over the Jeffrey Epstein's girlfriend trial, and some guy who doesn't think that women should hold any positions of power. The guy was actually a lawyer. Found her address online. The judge went to her house. Her son answers the door, and he shoots the son dead. Just to send a message to her.
Sick.
All because you can get her address online, no protection, for $1 or $2, just like you were saying. Very, very scary. I hope something changes about that.
Yeah, something needs to change.
Yeah. And chat room saying CJ saying he needs to be fully committed. Andrew Elder also agrees that it's too easy to find people's addresses.
Yeah.
And Andrew Elder also says that Eddie Graham probably also would have beat the stalker up as well.
He's probably right.
Here's a scary story. Andrew says a friend of his who has her on business, some guy was stalking her and threatening her like Sonia and Mandy so bad that this person had to move.
Wow. That's unfortunate.
That's scary, but you could all like in the old days. You and I talked about this earlier this week. That in the white pages you could unlist yourself.
Yeah, you could. you pay a small fee and unlist yourself.
Right. You have no control over the internet now. You have no control over your privacy. You have no right to privacy. It seems like.
Nope, that's true.
I think something's got to change. I think there really needs to be some kind of groundswell there that gets this thing going, because that's a really, really that's a bad look.
It is.
Jerome, next story, sir.
Well, we've got gosh, when I looked at this story, the first thing I thought of was Mel Gibson and Mad Max, ThunderDome.
Wrestleview News is bringing the thunder here.
ThunderDome, yeah. Oh my.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of the name. It's goofy, but it kind of fits as well. But I have to say, I'm not going to totally like crap on this concept. I am.
No. I'm actually going to check it out myself. I'm curious.
I'm very excited. They like randomly opened up the registration for the ThunderDome last night with like no announcement. They just like, here it is, register for ThunderDome. And I missed it. Billy Hefner, who is in the chat room right now, somehow after they closed it out, I guess they had a few more open up. Billy is going to be part of Friday Night SmackDown on one of those big screens in the Amway Center.
Billy has to go on WrestleView Media and tell us how it was.
I agree. Billy,
you got to tell us how it is. I'm curious.
I think I should do like an exclusive interview with Billy and talk.
Yes.
We should talk about his experience. Now of course they have some rules. You can't say anything bad about WWE or their stories. You can't smoke on it. You can't make any political statements. There's a few things you can't do. But for the most part, it's like just be a fan. Don't walk away for too long. Don't like leave it open and we're looking at an empty chair. We can just do that by removing this screen.
Yeah. So I wonder how long they'll do this for, through October, I think.
Their lease for the Amway Center is through October 30th. Now it was like really odd. I found it to be really, really odd on Raw that they were saying that it's really only up until like they basically were trying to say like, oh, it's up only until Monday that this is happening. Mm-hmm. It's like Raw, SmackDown, or SmackDown, SummerSlam, and Raw. And I was like, why wouldn't you just say that we're doing this like every SmackDown, every Raw? They said just for this SmackDown, this Raw.
maybe they want to see how it goes, and if they get enough interest in it, it garners enough ratings, maybe they'll continue it for the foreseeable future.
Maybe. I'm no question that they have to do something. Like they have to do something to turn things around. They also Andrew Elder bringing up that you can't like if you're on, don't have anybody else in the house using the computer or streaming YouTube or Netflix or anything. You have to just make sure your internet service is perfectly free of clutter. So, so if you have a bad connection, it'll drop you and bring somebody else in. That's apparently what's going on.
Huh, that must be a lot of bandwidth they have to use for that.
I would think so, especially if you want to have a good clear connection. So they're probably going to do high bandwidth.
Oh yeah.
The interesting thing is, like they believe that ratings are down because of the look of the show.
Well, I would disagree. I think it's their awful storylines they have going on right now. The product stinks.
I think so too. But this is like a Hail Mary pass to try to like make SummerSlam look like a big deal.
Yeah.
Try to turn this thing around.
Right.
But I think, I think it'll save them from having really, really horrible ratings in the fall.
Yeah.
But I don't think just adding a couple lasers and some drone cameras and a couple of 1,000 people live streaming in is really gonna make a big difference when there's still, at the end of the day, there's still no one to connect with.
Right. Exactly. If the storylines are not there, they can do everything else cosmetically and it won't make a difference. But I think that they'll pop a rating. Definitely. It'll be interesting to see what the overnight ratings are on Saturday for SmackDown after it airs Friday night.
Yeah. We will see. We'll see. We'll definitely be paying attention to that. And going forward, it's not even really SmackDown. So it's like Raw that I'm really curious about, because Raw is the one that everybody kind of pays attention to, and that's kind of like it's still the barometer of this company.
Yep. Right.
But the Amway Center, it should be a good deal. I am excited to see them in a more brightly lit place. I do have to admit that it is a little bit of a slog to watch bad storylines and also broadcast from a dark, dingy place.
Right. Yep. Yeah. I have my DVR set for SmackDown. I'm curious.
Oh yeah.
And how it's going to come across on television.
I'm going to be looking for Billy Hefner on there. I know that. I'll be definitely looking for him.
I'll look for him too.
All right. So, I mean, the ThunderDome, the WWE is going to be bringing the Thunder according to their press release. So.
Yes. Yep.
Jerome, would you register to be part of it?
Certainly, I would. Yeah, I think it'd be fun.
I would love to see you on a screen somewhere. The only thing I really hope, oh my gosh, you know how there's like those super fans that always wind up like in the front row somehow at all the big shows.
Right.
I hope that I just don't want to see them like I don't want to see that long-haired guy that goes to the show with his mom and dad in the front row again at the Amway Center, live streaming in. I don't want to see Sign Guy. I don't want to see the Brock Lesnar guy. I just want to see regular fans. I hope that it's not like they're showing a little like nepotism to these people.
Yeah, it's WWE. Who knows?
Yeah. I sat near that guy that goes to the shows with all of his parents, and I went up to him. I was talking to him a little bit, and he really thought that he was like a celebrity, and I was like, dude, no, you're the guy that pays a lot of money to go to these shows,
right?
Outside of its hot period, and the tickets are more expensive now than ever. So you're not really crazy. A celebrity, more of a dolt, more of a fool. Yeah. But he tried to big league me, and I was like, I just walked away from him. I was like, alrighty, have a good one. Bye.
Yeah.
Billy Hefner says they have to be on at 7:15, and he doesn't know why. I mean, I have to assume that it would just be to make sure that everything's running smoothly. They are going to be doing a test of this.
Yeah.
So they probably want to just make sure that all the technology is working heading into the show.
Right, and go over all the rules with everybody again.
And go over all the rules as well. Another cool thing that they're doing, Jerome, which I'll have that story up on Wrestleview in a little bit, is normally like on big weekends for pay-per-views, they'll do some kind of fan fest or, WrestleMania Access. Obviously this year they didn't do WrestleMania Access, but now that we're getting a little more comfortable with technology and we're in this for the long haul, whether we want to be or not, we're in it for the long haul. And it doesn't seem like COVID restrictions are ending anytime soon, at least in terms of getting people back together. So they're doing virtual meet and greets for like 125. I mean, it's not like their biggest stars, but like I got an email saying for $125, you can speak to a superstar for 2 minutes, ask them anything you want, I guess within reason. I'm sure there might be a weirdo or two that wants to ask some odd question. Well, here are the superstars. I'll just read them off. Oh, you know what? Never mind. They're actually not too bad. I must have been thinking of something else when I saw this list. So Saturday, August 22nd at 10 a.m., you can talk to NXT champion Keith Lee. And it's a one-on-one chat. I guess, you buy your ticket and purchase an exclusive personalized autograph item as well. Prices as per talent do not include taxes, blah, 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 blah. I don't know how long they're going to be on for. I wonder, I'm sure it's first come, first serve.
Yeah, I would think so.
But it's a virtual meet and greet. They have on Saturday, you can meet NXT champion Keith Lee. Sunday at 10 a.m., you can speak with SmackDown Women's Champion and WWE Women's Tag Team Champion Bayley before she wrestles Asuka at SummerSlam. Braun Strowman, the Universal Champions, at 1 p.m. Monday, August 24th, you can talk to Drew McIntyre at 10 a.m. So I guess if they're having Drew McIntyre talk to you at 10 a.m., they're probably not going to have him talk to you after a title loss. So maybe that's a little bit of a spoiler there. And on at 1 p.m. on the 24th, you can speak with Seth Rollins, who hopefully will have his butt properly whooped by Mr. Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah.
Dominic Mysterio, that's a great story, huh?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. He took a lashing last, was it 2 Mondays ago?
Yeah, last week. It was, man. And Andrew Elder, if you don't pay $125 to meet Bayley on this video chat and make sure that you call her a Karen, I'm going to be stunned. You know what? If Andrew wants to talk to Bayley, I will front him the money. I will front the $125 for Andrew to talk to her and call her a Karen. I will do it. Mex guy in the chat room tonight. Mex guy. All right. Anyway, so that's what they're doing. So they got a virtual meet and greet. Very cool. Actually, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it is a good idea. Thinking out of the box a little bit.
Yeah, they're getting a little creative now. I kind of like it. It feels like, you know what? It feels like a big deal weekend. Like comparing the feeling of going into WrestleMania 36 this year compared to SummerSlam, I'm a little more upbeat.
Well,
of course,
they learn the lessons learned and kind of thinking outside the box to how they can get a more big feel to generate that interest.
Yeah. Of course, in fairness to WrestleMania 36, it was right at the beginning of the pandemic. We didn't know what the heck was going on either. So.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. All right, Jerome, move on here.
Well, I don't know how much time we're going to spend on Ted DiBiase Jr., but just a silly story.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, to be clear, Ted DiBiase Jr. is not in trouble.
No.
Here. He is not under investigation, but I think that I think they're thinking that his brother might have given him a gift of money or something like that, and he put it in
they're seizing his $1.5 million house that he was trying to sell.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer. It's
unfortunate.
Ted DiBiase Jr. I know that he's out of wrestling completely.
Yeah, he's done.
And I think he became a fireman, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. Yeah, I think he did.
I don't know many firemen that live in a $1.5 million house.
No, I don't know any.
It's kind of a things that make you go,
Exactly, right. The story speaks for itself, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So one that you reported on, it looks like Goldberg's got some more dates that he can do with WWE.
Yeah, Goldberg signed through 20. He's not really sure how long he signed for. He said, I'm signed through 2022, 2023. That's how it sounded. I think he actually means he signed through 2023 for 2 matches a year. That's a heck of a deal.
Yeah, it is. All that money for 2 matches a year.
54. He's 54 years old. And he even said, I used to make fun of Ric Flair for doing this in his 40s, and now here I am at 54 years old doing this, but I got a great deal. How can you pass that up? two matches a year. He's already exhausted his 2 matches per year.
Right,
He wrestled in Saudi Arabia and won the title, and then he wrestled Braun Strowman at WrestleMania and lost the title.
Yeah.
That's it.
I know, it's crazy.
I wonder how many appearances he has to make, though.
I don't know.
That he didn't.
Good question.
That he didn't say, because you can still make appearances.
Right, exactly. And will it be Raw, SmackDown, or both?
It's a good question. I think use him as needed. I know that Dolph Ziggler wanted to. He was calling him out and wanting that SummerSlam rematch. When he got crushed last year.
Right.
Which I don't think we need to see that anymore.
No. 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 Yeah, so I guess moving on, I reported today it looks like Buff Bagwell got himself in trouble again with an accident in Georgia, being impaired.
I didn't have time to totally read that story. Jerome, recap us as what the heck's going on with that guy. He's had some issues for a while. He's on Cameo, and he put out like a really weird video early this year where he looked like he was all bruised up. What is going on with this guy?
Yeah, let me have to pop my phone open just to cheat because I don't have all of the details on the top of my head. But so he's currently I take my glasses off too here. So he's under investigation for an accident, and this is in Cobb County, Georgia. So they reported, actually it was yesterday, that the police department Selective Traffic Enforcement Program unit are investigating a collision that occurred in Georgia, in Cobb County, that his Chevrolet Tahoe was traveling west on Cumberland Boulevard, approaching Cumberland Parkway, when he lost control while negotiating a curve. And so the Tahoe collided with the center median and metal fence before he continued west across the eastbound lane. So and then it ended up colliding with a curb and went into a freestanding bathroom at the Cobb County Transit bus station.
Whoa!
So, yeah, he was transported to.
So he went over a bunch of lanes and then he crashed into a building.
Exactly. Right. And then he was transported to Wellstar Kennestone Hospital with serious injuries. And investigators believe that he was impaired with prescription medication during the collision. So,
I mean, you look at those Cameo videos of him, because he still does them, and you can and every time somebody does a cameo, because I did a cameo for Victoria for Mother's Day. I had Susie Essman from Curb Your Enthusiasm call Victoria for Mother's Day, which was great. It was a great gift, by the way. But
cool.
I keep my eye on some of the wrestlers. I was watching Big E for a while doing cameos and just laughing because the guy is so freaking funny. But Buff Bagwell does them, and you can have there's an option on it that says, okay, you can make my video public. I really don't care. You can let everybody else see it. And his videos are just weird. Really, there seems like there's something very off about all of his videos, and if he's on prescription pills, that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, he just can't get it together.
We got to call his mother. We got to call his mother.
We got to call him.
Did she ever get down from that pole? I wonder.
I don't know. Ask Vince Russo about that. Maybe he'll be able to tell you.
Did they put Judy Bagwell on a pole, or was she on a forklift? I don't remember.
I think it was on a forklift. Yeah, it was a forklift match. Oh, awful. What terrible looking.
I mean, that was his real life mother.
I know. Yeah. I know.
Whatever. Very sad. Very sad.
I think my dogs are in the background barking. I'll have to excuse them.
No problem.
Oh my gosh. So anytime someone walks by, they bark.
Gotcha.
So, my apologies to everybody for that.
Dogs exist.
Yeah. So I guess Velveteen Dream returned on NXT. That's kind of a big story.
It is for all of the wrong reasons in a sense.
I know.
Dream. I mean, I can't comment on anything. I mean, I really don't want to disparage the guy because they did their investigation into the claims made against him at the Speaking Out movement, which and they found nothing. So it's not even really fair to even bring up what the claims are, since they kind of exonerated him from it, and there's no legal action going forward either. But I will say this. The people that made the accusations, at least one of them has come out. A couple people made accusations and they disappeared off the face of the planet.
Right.
But one person, a young man, a teenager, made some accusations and has publicly stated that WWE did not contact him. So it's kind of hard. I don't know if you can have an investigation without contacting the affected party, but
yeah, right.
But it's you just gotta if that's the case, it stinks. But we have to kind of move on from it.
Right. Yep.
But I know Triple H got grilled about it on the media call today, and he said again, nothing was found, and that's it. That's the end of it.
Yep. That's all right. Yep.
So
we'll see what happens if it resurfaces again or just goes away.
We'll see. We shall see.
Yep. And I guess lastly, real big news, but Ring of Honor's back. They're going to do some television tapings, and EC3, who was in WWE and now Impact, is going to be on those tapings.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? It is big news because more and more companies are getting comfortable with coming back. So that's a good thing. I know that there was like some indie company that had a. I don't know if they were thinking because the big rumor was before they went to the Amway Center, WWE really was making a push to go to Atlantic City for SummerSlam.
Yes. Right.
And as they were making the push in Ocean County, which is where Atlantic City is, people. I mean, I was down in Wildwood a few weeks ago. People at the beaches are on top of each other like sardines. No one's wearing masks. My dad owns a condo down in Wildwood, which is where we stay. It's our shore house, and everybody who's a resident, and I made clear in March to a couple of the residents that were on the board of this building. I was like, I don't think anybody should be allowed to rent this year. Like, just for the safety of everybody who owns, and a lot of people made that argument. They still made the decision to let renters in. And every single resident was wearing a mask, and every single renter was not wearing a mask. And there was nobody enforcing it. So lo and behold, all over southern New Jersey, COVID cases are spiking. And right as the story came out about WWE wanting to go to Atlantic City, Phil Murphy limited the amount of people gathering inside to 25 individuals and 100 outside. So if they were going to have it on SummerSlam and just have everybody outside and socially distanced, you could only have up to 100 people. Wow. It wouldn't have worked out. It wouldn't have been a good look. Yeah. So Amway Center it was.
Yeah, it's probably a better choice.
It feels like it is. It feels like it is. But Ring of Honor is coming back, and some anyway. The point of my story of saying that in the beginning was there was an independent wrestling company that had a show under a tent in Atlantic City over the weekend. I guess in preparation for SummerSlam weekend, hoping it would be there, and it just never happened. So too bad.
Yep.
What can you do?
Right.
Is that all the news we got for tonight, Jerome?
That's all I got.
That's all we got. You know what? I got to say, for as bad as the storylines were going into Extreme Rules, and I talked about this on the Coach and Crew podcast with Charlie Krause, which I highly suggest you check out. They always, for a big show, they always pull a rabbit out of the hat. Jerome, are there any matches that you're particularly looking forward to this weekend?
I think the one that I would like the most would be the Dominic and Seth Rollins. Yeah.
That one. It's I'm not. I'm sure it'll be good. They always, for big shows, they can always pull out a lot of smoke and mirrors and just kind of make something work. But I actually think that will be a good match. I have to say the match that I'm most looking forward to, hair versus hair.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah, that'd be fun too.
I'm just very
classic matches.
It's the second women's hair versus hair match that they've ever had. I was at the first one, Victoria and Molly Holly at WrestleMania 20.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember that.
So it's going to be a fun weekend. I think NXT TakeOver. I think the Adam Cole Pat McAfee match is going to be like a sleeper hit of the weekend. I just got done recapping NXT a little while ago, and man, they had a real money segment with Adam Cole and Pat McAfee. Oh, I was watching. I was like, can we do TakeOver right now? That's how good it was.
I'll have to look at the highlights on that.
You're gonna enjoy it. I think it was really good. Yeah. But Jerome, always great talking with you. I think we had a good episode here. Lots of news going into this week.
Yes, there is a lot of news this week. It's never a dull moment, I don't think, in the wrestling industry right now.
I know, but in the meantime, and I know a lot of people already said it in the chat before, but we're thinking of you. We wish the best for your wife next week as she goes in for surgery. Wish the best for your move to Montana.
Yes, thank you.
You have a lot of equity in Wrestleview, and I think everybody knows your name by far. From you've been with us for a couple of years now, doing some news reporting, so everybody's rooting for you.
Thank you.
We're hoping everything goes well, and especially me. So Jerome, let's continue on our SummerSlam week coverage. Thank you everybody for joining us here on Wrestleview News. And join us tomorrow for the State of WWE. Don't forget, Friday we got Wrestleview Weekly. Saturday, live watch along. Sunday, Wrestleview Live. Post Raw on Monday. Next Friday, another Wrestleview Weekly with predictions. And then Sunday again, Wrestleview Live for WWE Payback. And then post Raw again. And then, seriously, I'm done. I can't do it anymore.
You'll need a vacation.
I'm going to need medication.
Yeah.
I'm going to be hurting.
The storylines are really bad coming out of SummerSlam. You'll need a lot of medication.
I think I will. I think I definitely will. But we hope you're enjoying all of our coverage and all the content. And stick around for more. We got some more good stuff coming up. Have a good one, everybody.